Ricky, thank you so much for joining me for this Jukebox playlist. We've been working together for years on different projects, and it has been such a pleasure to get to know you both as an artist and as a person. Beautiful in every respect. You are just humanity's beauty. I just love it. And there are three words that I thought of that that I think go beyond any sort of labels like American composer or a composer of this, and they are sincere, sophisticated, and observant. And the reason I say
Mm.
that is that every piece of music that I've encountered of yours, whether it's in music that I've conducted or heard, there's just an there's just a sincerity which is unquestionable, sophisticated because I feel like you have made the idea of being a melting pot of music in just a very personal and polished way, and observant because I feel from our conversations that you are so open and generous with what other people have done. And I know composers come to you to have comments about their works, but then you're also just going to see so many different things, and you're so knowledgeable. So I just wanted to just maybe start with those words and let you riff on you and about how you bring the world into your musical aesthetic.
That was so nice, Michael. That was so nice. That made me feel good. Um, you know, the thing about music for me is that um, I, for as long as I can remember, music was like the refuge. It was the refuge. It was where I went to express everything. Everything that was hard, everything that was painful, everything that was joyous. Um, I'm sure when I was little, I would have been diagnosed with ADD if it was now. Do you know what I mean? And the one place I could focus and be clear in was music, and I was irrepressibly drawn to all kinds of music, and I had no filter for. I was rather uneducated musically, so nobody was saying this is classical, this is serious, this isn't serious. In general, I love the music of my time. That's that. And so, first of all, the Hindemith, I was a little boy and I became obsessed with Hindemith. And I would play through all of his piano pieces, but this, the fugue from the third piano sonata, I thought it was the most dazzling thing I ever heard when I was little. Just dazzling. And I and so I remember my sister Susan was living out in California with David Getz, who was Janis Joplin's drummer. And when I was growing up, my mother already said, my mother told everybody, Ricky can play the piano anytime he wants. So I remember it was like 4 a.m. and I'm up at David and Susan's house in Fairfax playing like, and I was just constantly going crazy trying to figure out how to play that fugue. And I eventually did learn it, but to this day, I still think it's one of the most exciting things I've ever heard. I don't know what, it's just a perfect fugue to me. And
Yeah,
then
I
the
thought I
Benares,
thought like I used the words when I heard it years ago and then reacquainted myself with it. Jaunty and joyful were the words that came to my mind.
and dramatic. It's one of the most exciting ends of any piano sonata I know. And it's as exciting as the fugue in the Samuel Barber piano sonata, right? Ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. You know, I love all that stuff. So I love that. I thought I have to start with that because something about that expresses my whole childhood. Benares song, Kurt Weill, he was my man from the time I was a little boy. I heard Three Penny Opera and then Mahagonny, and there's something about that sideways world that's off and skewed. Sometimes I feel like it's a past life memory of the Nazis or something, but that kind of commentary in the in the face of what's happening through music and the kind of irony that music is capable of. I fell in love with that sound world, and to me, that mixture of classical and theater, Kurt Weill is very much quintessential role model for me. Fantasia for strings. This is the reason I was obsessed with this music. I was a kid and the movie The Exorcist opened. And of course, all my Catholic friends were freaking out and having nervous breakdowns. And I'm like a Jew. I just thought, what are you going on about? Like, there was nothing scary about it to me, except when it got to the end and over the credits, I heard this piece of music. Oh my God. I was like, what is that music? I had never heard of Henze. I had never heard this piece. And this is the story of my childhood. I would hear a piece of music and within weeks know everything that composer had written. Within weeks, I knew his Cantata della Fiaba Estrema. I knew every opera of his that was recorded, Boulevard Solitude, King Stag, I listened to at the library, The Young Lord. I knew all of his movie music for Alain Resnais, for Muriel. And so that's what would happen to me. And Henze is one of those composers that happened with. And so it felt like a very appropriate way to begin this curated playlist of mine.